Alright, welcome to building lightsabers from found parts. I want to real quick go over some of the Star Wars lightsabers because they did go and get existing parts and put them together to make lightsabers. So real quick, this is the Luke lightsaber, and essentially what this was is a flash bar for a camera where the bulb went in here, and it had buttons for testing, and I think this was a sensor, and all these plugs went to the camera. And the only few modifications they had, which was kind of cool, was just the hand grips really, which were the windshield wipers or whatever they are, and the clip on the end, and I think later they ended up changing a few buttons here and there. But essentially all this stuff went to the original, and this is icons and the calculator bubbles, which this was the clamp that went to the camera, and they slid this in here, these little bubbles. Next right up is the Obi-Wan Kenobi from A New Hope, the first one. And this is really interesting because every part in here practically was a different part, and I did some research to find out what all these pieces are. And first of all, I want to show you how this is an Icons one. This is a replica, and they designed this to put it all together. But this has like a long threaded bolt, and this goes, this threads into the top piece. It actually unscrews and threads into the bottom piece, which I thought was kind of interesting. And for some of the stuff I read, this is the same way that they built the original Obi-Wan Kenobi saber. So what you got is the top piece, the end piece connecting, and then all the loose pieces in between. To run through some of the parts for you guys that don't know, which I did some research on. This apparently went to a Rolls-Royce aircraft engine. Some of the I don't know, pressure port, whatever. And this is a milled piece that they did. As far as I know, this is part of a grenade, part of a rifle grenade. I think that I actually do have some reference photos. A rifle grenade, and you can see how that piece goes in there. And I think there was another piece that this went to, the rifle grenade. But you see how these are all milled to fit together. The original Obi-Wan Kenobi, I don't think that they had that. Real quick, they used the Graflex clamp. You can actually unbolt this clamp, and made it the same as the Luke Skywalker. And I just think these guys were genius for taking all these parts and making them together, because I'm sure it wasn't that simple. Alright, moving on, after that you've got this finned piece. Kind of looks like a little bit like a gear. According to the people on the replica prop forum, this is a part of the flash hider to a machine gun. I don't know if you can see this little picture, but you can see the little flash hider, which is pretty genius that they got all these parts. And then you got the end, which clearly looks like a sync knob if you look at it like this. I mean, I've never seen a sync like this, but genius. These guys took these parts, and I'm sure they didn't fit together all and just put them all together. I thought that was genius. So when I got this, I actually thought that was a good idea to find two pieces that you could screw together. And how simple will that be? Just find parts that will go together. Alright, back to the Obi-Wan Kenobi thing for just a second. I know this is about building lightsabers, but I wanted to tell you how the idea came about. Since this had the two pieces that were connected by a bolt, I thought, sure, I can do that. And so I came up with something from found parts. These are not bought parts. This is stuff I found over a long period of time, and made this saber. And it very much the same as the Obi-Wan Kenobi comes apart. So starting with the emitter, this is like a part to a table, and this would be similar to what you'd have on like a brass bed. The bottom would be a threaded piece so that it can thread into the bed, and so the screw just happens to be able to thread into it, or from the other side. And these are, I think these are 1/4 inch standard thread. You can just buy these at the hardware store with the threads all the way down. It's just as easy. And so the next piece is a little tightener to a tripod, and it's got these kind of little it just had some neat features to it. and it just happens to mate up with that size-wise. Like I said, I did a lot of changing around. So these are not as common to find on Git. They come off of a Gitzo tripod. The next piece is a flashlight, like a mag light. You can see the end cap here where I drilled has a hole in it so it would fit the screw thing through it. And this was like a 2-piece mag light, and I added the little clip, and I found this kind of cool switch where you could see it's kind of like a double-decker switch where it has 2 layers, and I thought that looked really cool because not many things have a double-decker switch, and it's not red. I thought it looked kind of cool. Alright, the end piece here that made it up here was a camera part to a camera, and this was kind of a milled aluminum piece that had a lot of really cool features, and I'm trying to get where you can see this. It had a lot of cool ridges, and I thought it was very similar to kind of like the Obi-Wan Kenobi. It kind of had those little ridges in there and looked really nice. And it actually, the hole I think was probably about the same size for the screw to go through, so I was just lucky that that part. But and the end piece is kind of like the other part to the table that I had, and I threw the table away, but I kept the pieces because they were both threaded already, and I was kind of lucky, and they just happened to be brass. But this is the kind of hardware that you can get off a bed, like bedposts. This is like a bedpost top, and you can see how it has some nice detail. It actually looks a little dirty and stuff, but I was lucky it was threaded, so all these parts just kind of went together kind of naturally, and I thought it was so cool. After you get all these parts together, they just sort of fit together, you know. I just bolted this stuff together, and I didn't say anything about this. This was a top to a lamp, and it had the right threads, and I thought the emitter would look kind of cool with just a little knob in there, because it looked kind of plain, so I just used that to put in the emitter.